Cool. Okay. So today's webinar is how breweries can book more private events with meta advertising. So I just feel like this is such low hanging fruit for breweries and, you know, Jeff, you're a distillery watching this. This is just very low hanging fruit that I feel like a lot of people in the craft beverage space are not tapping into. It's pretty easy to set up. It's pretty easy to manage. It can get a little bit technical on the setup side, but it's nothing too crazy. And I'm gonna walk you through that today. And yeah, it's I think if you can nail this, it can be a really powerful revenue stream for your brewery. So what we're gonna cover today, basically the funnel that we're setting up here, is a 4-step funnel. Step one is somebody sees your ad and clicks on it and goes to your website. Step two is they go to a dedicated landing page on your website. So that would be like, your domain name / private events. We don't want to send them to the homepage. We want a page on your website specifically dedicated to private events. And on that page, there's going to be a form that they fill out, which is just like name, email, details about the event, how many people they want there, whatever information that you generally collect from people for booking private events that will live on that form. Step three is once they fill out that form, we need to redirect them to a thank you page. So that's for tracking purposes. I'll dig into why that is and how you do that later. And then step four, the lead has now come in. You need a salesperson on your team. That could be you, that could be a team member. You need somebody from your team to contact the lead and close the deal. So first step here is setting up the website. Just making sure that side of things is good to go. So what you'll need from a website standpoint, again, is a dedicated landing page for private event inquiries. So again, something like domain / private events, a form on that landing page that people can easily fill out, clean and high quality photos of your event space. This is important. I see too many breweries out there who, are trying to promote their brewery. They're trying to get people in the door, and you go to their website or you go to their social media, and it's just all, really blurry, low quality photos. And I think for the private event side of things, this is especially important because you often have people that are looking to book, things like engagement parties or wedding events or retirement parties or, big birthday parties. And if they've never been to this space before, they want to feel comfortable that, this is a business that takes themselves seriously, that, when they book the event, they're working with professionals, and having high quality photos kind of puts them at ease a little bit. And it also just gives them a better understanding of what the event space actually looks like if they can see, crisp, clean, high quality, kind of wide angle photos of the space. So I think that's very important. Next one here is an FAQ section that proactively addresses customer objections to booking. So this is, underneath your form, you might have a couple questions that just answer some objections that people might have around booking an event. So for example, one of them could be, is food included with my booking? What's the minimum number of people? What's the maximum number of people? Can I play my own music? Things like that might be questions that generally come up in the sales process. It helps if you just proactively address them on the booking page. Just so that way, if people are considering reaching out and they're unsure and they have a question about it, it's right there down below. And then that puts them at ease and they go ahead and fill out the form. And then finally, we need to ensure that this form redirects to a thank you page. So I'm going to be, throughout this presentation, I'm going to be jumping in and out of the deck a little bit to show you some real world examples. This is a website for a new client that we're working with. We're building the website right now, so this isn't even published yet, but I think this is a pretty good example of what I'm talking about for a private event page. So this is called Flying Bowl Beer Company, and says host your next event at Flying Bowl Beer Co. And it's got this banner image, and you can kind of see, some catering options that they have here. And then you scroll down and the event is front and center. It says fill out our event form. We're just collecting name, email, which location are you interested in hosting your event at? What day and time would you like to host your event? What's your estimated number of participants? What kind of beverage package are you most interested in? Is there anything else we should know about your event? So they can fill that out. If they have questions, we have frequently asked questions down here. This is actually not complete yet, so we need to update this, but just to show you kind of what the format of the page looks like. And then they keep scrolling and it says check out the vibes. And Flying Bull does an awesome job with their imagery, so they have some really nice high quality photos here. And we will update these to make these a little bit more private event focused, but you can kind of see the general format of the page that we would be ideally working with here. And so I could fill this out and I'll just type in my stuff here. I'm just going to put test, test, test. Hit submit. And then you'll see when I hit submit, it redirects me to a thank you page here. And that just says, thank you. We have received your private event inquiry and we'll be in touch shortly. So I'm going to explain why we do that in a second. So that's the website side of things. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy that you need to do there, but you just need a good looking private event page with all the information that I mentioned. People submit the form on that page, they get redirected to a thank you page. Now that we have the website side of things set up, we need to set up your ad account. So everything, the way that we get people to that private event page is we run ads on Facebook and Instagram, now known as Meta. So most breweries that I chat with when they first come to us, typically they've boosted posts before. Boosting posts is not the same as running ads. So I wanted to include this picture. If this looks completely foreign to you, then you've probably boosted posts and you have not actually used Ads Manager to run ads. We're going to need to use Ads Manager. That's going to be for tracking purposes. There's better analytics in Ads Manager. It gives us more control over the ads that we're running. So this part will be very important. Let me get back into presentation mode. So how do we set up Ads Manager? The first step here is you need to ensure that you are an admin of your company's Facebook page. You know, if you're the owner of your company watching this, you probably already are an admin of your company's Facebook page. At the bare minimum, you need advertiser access. The reason for that is as we're setting up your ad account, or as you're running ads through your ad account, there's a setting as you're setting up your campaign where Meta is going to ask you which page would you like to run this ad from. And you can only select your company's page if you have at minimum advertiser level access to your page. If you're an admin, you'll definitely have advertiser access. So you'll need to be able to have the level of access that allows you to select your company's, your brewery's Facebook page to run ads from it before you actually launch your campaign. So this is a prerequisite to, getting this all set up, which hopefully is already done in most cases. Step 2 here is go to adsmanager.facebook.com. And what a lot of people don't realize is that if you have a Facebook profile, Facebook has automatically set you up with an ad account attached to your personal profile. So everybody has an ad account already attached to their personal profile. You shouldn't need to create one. So all you need to do is go to adsmanager.facebook.com, and you should find the ad account that's assigned to your profile. You can use that one, and you could just rename it, XYZ Brewing Company. And once you have that, all you need to do is go into the payment settings of your ad account and just hook up your company credit card to that, and then you're good to go. So the ad account side of things is very straightforward. And just to show you what that looks like, I have this pulled up here. So again, this is what an ad account would look like. And for, confidentiality purposes, I can't go into the billing and payment section since this is a client ad account. But you would just go to this left-hand menu here and hit billing and payments. And click that and add your company card, and then you're all set there. So moving on here. Now we have the ad account set up. The next kind of stage of the setup process here is setting up your pixel. This is the part that can get a little technical, so I'm gonna walk you through it, and I'm actually gonna set this up on the webinar for Flying Bull because we haven't set up their pixel yet. So I'll show you exactly how to do it. So the thing that you need to know about the pixel is basically the pixel is what allows you to track how many leads are coming in from the website and send that data back to the ad account. So as you're running ads through your ad account on Facebook and Instagram, those ads are getting delivered to potential customers. People are clicking on them. They're going to the website. And then once they fill out the form, we need to fire a lead event and send that lead event back to the ad account so that we can track which ads are generating leads and which ones are not generating leads. That allows us to optimize performance. That means that, we can turn off the ads that are not generating leads and allocate more budget to the ones that are generating leads and improve performance over time. So what we're going to do here is go into your Meta ad account, and then we need to go into something called Events Manager, and we need to find a snippet of code that looks like this. You will not be required to actually write any code here. All we're doing is taking the code that Meta gives us, copying it, and pasting it into our site in specific places on the site. So in order to get this pixel code, we're basically going back into Ads Manager. We're clicking on All Tools and then going to something called Events Manager. If there's no pixel in place, we will need to create one, and then we just access the pixel code and install it on our site. So I will show you how to do that. So this is Flying Bull Beer Company. And again, I'm actually showing you how to do this live because we need to do this as part of the onboarding process anyway. So we can go to All Tools here. And again, we're at the regular ad account level. We're going to this left-hand menu, going to All Tools, and we're going to go to Events Manager. So now we are in the Events Manager side of Meta. And from here, we're going to go to Data Sets. And we have this Flying Bull Beer Company pixel here. And so all we're going to do is go to Add Events, and we're going to hit From the Pixel. Oops. Here we go. Install event using code. Oh. Why is that not working? From a new website. There we go. I messed up there. You go to Add Events, and then you go to From a New Website. So it'll give you two options here. The first is to manually install the code just directly into your website. So it'll give you that code snippet that I showed before. The second way is through a partner integration. So depending on where your website is hosted, if you use Squarespace or Wix, or in this case for Flying Bull, we use a platform called Webflow. Most web building platforms out there have a direct integration with Meta. So in that case, all you would need to do is take the pixel ID, which is just a very short snippet of code, and paste it in. If there's no direct integration, you would just take that entire block of code. So I'll show you how to do both. So I just hit install code manually, and then it gives me this base code here. I'm just going to copy that. And just to show you, that's where I'm getting this big snippet of code that I showed you on the slide deck before. So I'm taking that, and if I wanted to install this manually, I would just go into my website settings, which I already have pulled up here for Flying Bull. And if you're on Squarespace or Wix or any other web building platform, you would just find wherever you could access the header of your website. So I could go into custom code and just paste that in there. And then I could hit save and publish. And so now you'll see I have this this Chrome extension called Meta Pixel Helper. And that tells me if there's a pixel on the website. So as of right now, there's no pixel on the website, but if I hit refresh here because I just installed it, now you'll see that it does find a pixel on the website and it's firing a page view event here. So that's how you would do it manually. If you wanted to do it directly through the integration, what you could do is find, if you're on Squarespace or Wix or any other, or WordPress, generally there's a section for integrations or third-party tracking tools. And so this is Webflow. I'm going down to apps and integrations, and you can see there's a Metapixel section here. And what I could do is just go back to Events Manager and Datasets, and I can just copy this string of numbers here. That's going to be the pixel ID. And I could go back and just paste that in there and hit save, and I'll publish it again. And the pixel's on the site. So both of those accomplish the exact same goal, whether you do it through the integration or you do it through just manually installing the code on the site. What that does is it just tracks what's called a page view event on every single page of the website. So that just registers that somebody visited the website, and it'll generally just track how much traffic you're getting to the site and send all that data back to your ad account. So that's going to be step 1 and possibly step 2 here. Let's see. Yeah, so step 2 I just went over is installing the header code or the integration, which we just went through. And then the last step for the pixel side of things is we need to install just one more snippet of code on that thank you page. So what we're doing on the thank you page is we're installing what's called a lead event, which is just an additional snippet of code in relation to the pixel that fires a lead whenever somebody lands on that private event thank you page. So the way that you can think about this is the only way that people are getting to that private event thank you page is if they filled out the private event form. That there's not going to be links to that private event thank you page anywhere else. So the only possible way that they will be able to access that is if they fill out that private event form. So what we're going to do is paste in some pixel code that tells the ad account that a lead came through whenever somebody lands on that private event thank you page. The way that we do that is pretty straightforward. We're taking that exact same snippet of code that we got before from Meta. And the only difference is we are going to add this little tiny snippet, FBQ track lead, underneath the part where it says FBQ track page view. So I will show you exactly how to do that. Let me go back here. So I'm going to just copy this, and that exact same code that I had before, I'm going to paste that in. So you can see it's right underneath this page view event. I'm just also adding in a lead event here. And then I'm going to take this entire snippet of code. I'll go back to the website. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to access the private event thank you page. Once I can get there. So I'm going to access, I'm going to their pages here, and you would have to navigate to the private event thank you page on whatever web platform that you use to build your site. So in this case, I have it built out, private event thank you. I'm going to go to settings here and then scroll down. And you're just going to add this to the header tag of that specific page. So before we added the main pixel code to the header tag of the entire website, that adds a page view event on every single page of the website. This one, since we're just adding code to the header of this specific page in the website, this will just fire a lead event on the private event thank you page. So I'm going to hit save there. And we're going to publish this. And then I'll go back to private events and I will fill out that form again. And let's see if it fires a lead event. If it doesn't, I might need to add it to the footer code. Sometimes it varies, but usually the header code works. We'll just do test, 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 submit. Now let's go to our pixel helper here. Perfect. And you can see that a lead event is now firing on this page. So that worked. So that was exactly how you install this pixel. Once you know how to do it, it's pretty easy. It does get a little technical the first time that you're doing it, but once you know what you're doing, you can do it in 5 minutes. So going back here, we now have the pixel installed. We have the pixel installed across the entire website. We have the lead event fired on the private event thank you page. That can now send data back to the ad account, and we can track exactly how many leads are coming in from our ads. The next piece of this here, and this is the fun part, is actually launching the campaign. So we do this in Meta Ads Manager. There's a couple things that you need to understand as you're doing this. What you're going to do is when you're in Meta Ads Manager, on the left-hand side of the ad account, which I can show you in a second, you're going to see a green little create button. So you're going to hit that create button. And the first thing that you're going to see when you click that button is there's going to be this option to choose a campaign objective. So Meta is really, really good at predicting what types of actions people are going to take based on their past behavior. You know, they've been around since 2004. They've been just collecting data on people this entire time and basically building profiles on them based on what they're interested in and what they're likely to click on. So what they've been able to do is create these different campaign objectives that allow you to tell Facebook what you're trying to accomplish, and then it'll serve ads to people who are likely to take the type of action that you're optimizing for. So if somebody is likely to click on an ad, then you can run a traffic objective campaign. It'll target the people who are most likely to click on your ads. If people are more prone to like or comment or share an ad, basically engage with them, then you could click the engagement objective and Meta will deliver your ads to people that in the past have been more likely to engage with ads. If you are optimizing for leads, which in this case we are, you're going to choose the lead objective. And in that case, Meta will optimize for people that in the past have been likely to, you know, click on an ad, go and fill out a lead form. If you were an e-commerce website or you were selling beer online, you could optimize for sales, and that would deliver your ads to people that are likely to purchase things online. So in this case, what you need to know for these purposes is you're going to select the lead objective campaign here. And that is just telling Meta, I want you to serve my ads to people who are likely to become leads. The next side of this is your conversion settings. So this is going to be, and I'll show you this whole process in a second. This is going to be at the ad set level, which I'll show you what that means. This part is important though, because this tells Meta a little bit more information about how to optimize your campaign. So it's going to ask you the conversion location. That's a technical way of saying, you know, where does this thing that you want to accomplish take place? In this case, what we want to accomplish is somebody to go on our website, fill out our private event form, and become a lead. And so we're just telling Meta, hey, that all happens on my website. If I were to click this drop down, you would see a couple other things, like you could optimize for people to call your brewery. You could optimize for people to buy things directly off of your Facebook page. You could optimize for people messaging your brewery. So conversion location being website here means this people are filling out the form on my website. That's where all the action is happening. Performance goal, there's a couple options here. You just need to select maximize number of conversions. So the conversion is on the website, people are filling out the form, and by maximize number of conversions, you're just telling Meta, get me as many leads as possible for my budget. Data set. So you should only see one option here if you just have one pixel attached to your ad account, which you should. That's just going to be the pixel that you created. So, when you create a pixel or when you're going through and setting all this up, typically you're naming your pixel. You could name it, XYZ Brewery Pixel. So you're just going to select that in the data set. And that just tells Meta, hey, here's where you're pulling the information from. Anything that happens on this pixel, that's what we're reporting on in this campaign. And then finally, the conversion event here is going to be lead. So we just installed that special lead code on the private event thank you page. Now that's firing information back to the ad account anytime that a lead comes in. And so all we're doing is in the campaign settings, we're just being like, hey, remember that lead event that I just set up? That's what we're optimizing for here. That's what my goal is for this campaign. So just to make sure that this all makes sense here, I want to show you what this looks like as you're actually setting up a campaign. So I mentioned before we have this this ad account here, and we're just going to hit this green create button. So I clicked that, and here are my campaign objectives. So I'm going to go in and hit leads here and hit continue. And you can ignore that. You can just X out of that. So you could name this, we always start with HM for harbor marketing, but if you're doing this yourself, you wouldn't do that. I always like to say TOF for top of funnel, and you could say private event leads. So you can name it if you'd like. I like to do that. It keeps the account organized. And so you could set a budget here. I generally recommend a minimum of $20 a day here. We'll get into that a little bit later. But that's all you really need to do here. So then we're going to hit next. So this now takes you to the ad set level, which is where you are going to set those campaign settings and also do your targeting. So you can see here we have conversion location. This is that little picture I showed you before with all those settings. I'm going to click this drop down, and it's going to ask, are there multiple conversion locations or just a single conversion location? In this case, I'm going to hit single conversion location on the website. That means, hey, there's only one possible place that somebody can become a private event lead, and that's going to be on my website when they fill out the private event form. Maximize number of conversions is already selected. You can see there are other options here, but for this case, just use maximize number of conversions. Data set, I'm going to use that pixel that we installed before, so I'm going to click that one. And then it's going to ask me conversion event, and I'm going to hit lead here. So that's what we're going for. And you can ignore all this. It's telling you this because we just installed the lead event a couple minutes ago, so none of that data has been passed back to Facebook yet. But if you select lead and optimize for this lead event, as ads start feeding out and people start clicking on them and going to the website and becoming leads, then all these warning messages will go away. So the rest of this is all pretty straightforward. You can leave these as the default setting. What I do want to cover is the targeting here. And I have a slide on this that'll dive into as well. So targeting, a lot of people like to get very granular with their targeting. They like to, target people with birthdays coming up and, target heads of HR for work happy hour private events and, target people of retirement age for retirement parties. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. However, the more you split up your ad sets, so the more granular you get with them, the more budget is required to do so. So if you have one ad set that's targeting, retirement age people, and then the ads within that ad set are all about booking retirement parties, that's going to require a certain amount of budget. And then you'll have to have another ad set for birthday parties. You can target people with birthdays coming up. And then all the ads in that ad set will be about booking birthday private events. That's going to require its own set of budget. Then you could have other ad sets and the budget just kind of starts to add up pretty quickly. So when we're working with breweries with limited budgets, which most of them do have, fairly limited budgets, what we try to do is set this up with kind of broader targeting. So we won't do any interest targeting at all. And we'll keep the ad a little bit more generic. So it'll be just kind of messaging around, hey, book your private event here, whether it's a birthday party, retirement party, engagement party, we can do it all. That seems to work pretty well and is a good way to make sure that we're including all the different types of private events that people might be interested in without just, blowing up the budget in the account. So we'll keep it broad targeting. We do generally target a 5 to 7 mile radius around the brewery. This can vary depending on your specific brewery. So if you're in a very rural area and nobody lives within 5 to 7 miles, then you might want to expand your targeting radius a little bit. But for most breweries, we found that about 7 miles is kind of the sweet spot here. You can target men and women 21 plus because we are promoting alcohol here. And that's pretty much it on the targeting side of things. So I'll show you how to do this. We'll keep using Flying Bull as an example here. I'm just going to copy their address. So we can go in and go to locations. And I'm just going to paste in their exact location. We'll search for it. Okay. So it just popped it in here and it'll default to 10 miles. I'm going to reduce that to 7 miles. And then you can see it just drops a targeting pin within a 7 mile radius of that tap room. And we can show more controls here. Minimum age. I'm going to switch that to 21. That part is important. You want to make sure that you are targeting 21 and up, because if you're promoting alcohol and you try to target people who are 18 and up, Facebook can flag that sometimes. So make sure that you do set the age limit to 21 and up. And that should be everything. It'll automatically target men and women. If you wanted to limit that, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. And so that's pretty much it for the targeting. Pretty straightforward. Open targeting, just kind of targeting everybody within that 7 mile radius, optimizing for leads, men and women 21 plus. So now into the fun part. We've gone through all the technical stuff. Now let's talk about, what do the ads actually look like? How do you make these enticing? How do you make these engaging? So here are some examples of some top performing ads for some of our clients. We have Diamondback Brewing in here. We have Crooked Culture Brewing. We have Levante Brewing. I'll dive into what makes these perform on the next slide, but I just wanted to show you a couple examples here. This one here, I'll show you this in a little bit. This is a video that has performed very well. So I'm going to show you what that video looks like, but you can see some of the images here as well. So let's dive into why these work. So these are two that we're running right now. And we generally try to follow the same type of formula for these private event ads, and it's been pretty consistent across a variety of different breweries across the country. This style has worked pretty well. So what we do is in the first line here, what we want to do is make the opening line abundantly clear what the ad is about. As people are scrolling through their news feed, they're scrolling and you have to capture their attention pretty quickly. So a big mistake that we see a lot of people make when they're trying to do their own marketing is they try to get too clever, or they try to get too kind of like cute with their marketing. And it ends up just kind of missing the point, and it confuses people, and it's just not clear exactly what they're trying to promote. So we do away with all that. You can see here, we lead with exactly what we're trying to promote. So looking for the best venue for your holiday party, we've got you covered. Or need the perfect spot for your next event, whether it's a work happy hour or a birthday party, an engagement party, or anything else, we've got you covered. So you can see we're also kind of showcasing all the different types of events that we can offer here. So that part's very important. These ads here, these are expanded, but as people are scrolling through their news feed, Facebook will only show this top line, and then there will be a little link that says see more. So we need to make sure that we're communicating the value directly in that top line before that see more button. Next, we're just going to include some information about the venue. So you can see we have like 7,000 square feet of indoor space plus lounge, another 7,000 square feet of outdoor rooftop plus patio, luxury leather seating, TVs, and fire pit. This one says open space with plenty of seating, a variety of awesome beers on tap, pizza straight from the oven. And then we're always ending with a call to action. This is another big mistake that a lot of people make with their marketing is they promote this big thing and people are like, oh, this sounds awesome, but then they don't tell people what to do next. People need to be told what to do from a marketing standpoint. So every single ad that you run should end with a call to action of what you want them to do next. So ready to make it happen? Book now. Click to fill out our event inquiry form and learn more about hosting your next party at Diamondback Timonium. Couple notes on the image or video here. This has worked really well for this brewery, Crooked Culture. In every one of their ads, we try to include this yellow color for their brand. That just really pops visually on the newsfeed as people are scrolling through and they're looking at different posts and different ads. If you can just use really bright colors, that tends to stick out a little bit more than if it's just like a black or gray or dull image that you're using. And then you'll see we're using kind of that clarity tactic in here as well. So there's no room for interpretation of what we're trying to get people to do here. It just says, book your holiday party at Crooked Culture. And then we added in a little Santa Claus here. And then I'll show you this video in a second. The last piece of this on the creative side that I will mention is the headline is also clear that this is about booking an event. So what you'll see is that, we're not necessarily going crazy with trying to get super cute and clever with this. We're just basically putting the event space in front of people and being like, hey, if you have an event coming up, book it here. That's what I'm saying about this entire process. It's not difficult. You just need to know how to set it up, and then you need to manage it on an ongoing basis. But the ads themselves are pretty straightforward. I do want to show you what this video looks like because I think it's a good example of something that has performed very well. And you can see for Diamondback, there's been about 18 leads in the last 30 days on top of what he just gets normally. And they actually have all come from this video. So I'll show you what this looks like. Hopefully you can hear this. So nothing crazy there. Couple short clips that we put together and added a soundtrack over that just kind of showcases people having private events there. So next time that you do have a private event at your brewery, I would recommend getting a couple clips of, people just having a good time, drinking beer, chatting, enjoying some food. And then you can use that, clip them all together, put a nice little soundtrack over it, and then that can be your ad. That has performed really, really well for Diamondback over the last 30 days. We launched that about a month ago. And I think it said right now we're at about a $31 cost per lead, which is pretty good. So that style works very well. And I would recommend testing that out. And then the last piece of this here is understanding your budget and metrics. I included this little ghost with a beer. I'm a big Halloween guy, so I couldn't resist. So budget and metrics, as far as, what success looks like here, for budget, I would recommend minimum $20 per day. So that's about $600 a month just in that private event campaign. If you can do that, if you're achieving about a $30 cost per lead, you're going to get a new private event lead in about every day and a half or so. If you're at a $40 cost per lead at $20 budget per day, then every 2 days you'll get a private event lead. But that would be 15 additional private event leads each month. Target cost per lead, anything below 40 is pretty solid generally. When things are really working well, we've seen it at 15 or 20, but I wouldn't say that that's normal. I would say anything below 40 is decent. As far as form submit rate, so this is of the people that click on the ad and make it to the landing page and get a chance to actually view the form on your private event page. If you can get about 5% of those people filling that out, that should be kind of the minimum that you shoot for. And the reason that's important is because it allows you to diagnose, why things aren't working. So, if you're getting a decent click-through rate on your ads and people are, visiting your page, but then cost per lead is still really, really high, you might want to look into your form submit rate. And if that's below 5%, maybe there's something that you need to tweak on your landing page. Like maybe you need more imagery, or maybe your form is too long and it's confusing people. So there might be something that you need to change there to increase the form submit rate and bring cost per lead down. And then finally, close rate here. Close rate, I would shoot for a minimum of 20% close rate. I think you can get this a lot higher if you're really on top of things here. But 20% would be like the minimum that I would shoot for. So that means you're closing 1 out of every 5 leads that comes in. And, if you're at $20 per day, and let's say that you're at a $30 cost per lead, so a lead comes in every day and a half, you should be booking 1 new private event from this, about once a week. So that means 4 new private events a month. If you're spending about $600 a month and you're booking 4 private events, that should be pretty profitable for you. And then last note here, this is the last slide before we open it up for questions. Sales tips. So this is often where the process can break down. You could have all the leads that you want, but if you're not, calling the leads or, following up with them or closing sales, then it doesn't matter how many leads you get. So just a couple tips. Don't wing the sales process. Whether it's you, serving the leads, or it's somebody on your team, you should have a clearly defined process for this. You should know exactly what questions you're going to ask these people. You should have some strategies to close the deal already baked into the process that you are trained on and that your team is trained on, so that there's a higher likelihood of success here. Speed to lead really matters. So as soon as a private event lead comes in, you should reach out to them as soon as you see it, ideally within like an hour or two. Don't wait like 2 or 3 days before you reach out to them. At that point, you are so in the rear view for that lead, and they've probably reached out to 10 other companies and they've probably booked with somebody else at that point. So when a lead comes in, reach out to them immediately, strike while the iron's hot, and you'll be much more likely to actually book that private event. And then last piece here that I don't see a lot of breweries doing this, and I would recommend that you do, is use a CRM so that you can stay organized with all the leads that are coming in and actually follow up with people, and just make sure that you're actually working the leads. You'd be surprised at, how many leads maybe came in 6 months ago. They didn't book for the event that they originally were interested in, but now something else is coming up 6 months later. And if you just make a habit of just following up with people, then oftentimes you can find some additional private events just from your old leads. So hope this was helpful. Hope this all made sense. I know this did get a little technical, and I know that the setup process can be a little bit confusing if you've never done it before. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and let me know, and I'll hang out here for another couple minutes, and then if you think of anything later, also feel free to shoot me a message. And for anybody watching the recording, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help. Jeff or Laura, do you guys have anything?
Yeah, I just put a question over in the chat earlier. Do you suggest putting pricing on the landing page?
I would start without pricing on the landing page, and try to handle that conversation on the phone if you can. Um, Reason being that, and this goes back to just kind of having a sales process in place. Um, Oftentimes it's difficult to really communicate the value that you bring to, people hosting a private event at your space just over a landing page. Whereas if they can hop on a call with you or your team and actually chat with you, you can do a better job of explaining the value, which justifies the price that you're going to be able to charge. So I would have that conversation over the phone if you can. If you see that, you're if there's a compelling reason to offer it on the landing page after you've done this for a little bit and you feel like it might improve things, then you can test it. But to start, I would just have that conversation over the phone.
Okay. And then for the ads, the meta ads manager, I've dealt with this in the past. It's always confusing.
Mhm.
They change it every single day, I feel.
Yep.
But I was looking and I have two ad accounts attached. How do I know which one is the right one?
So you can use basically any ad account that you'd like to use.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what ad account you run this from. I would just like, if you're going to start doing meta advertising, pick one of them and then just make that your ad account moving forward. Um, and then, you'll need to make sure that the pixel that we chatted about, that is connected to whichever ad account that you're using.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of along those lines. So we haven't been running any Facebook ads at this point. So when I go in and look, the pixel is attached to, like you said, you have your personal account that runs your business page. So the pixel shows as my personal name. Does that matter? Should I create a business profile? Because there was that option too. And maybe that's just a whole nother rabbit hole that isn't applicable to this training. But do you have any quick thoughts on how to do that?
So you have a pixel that is under your personal name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that shouldn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, you could just rename the pixel under your business name.
Okay. And it still posts to the business page, not, or it still tracks to the business page, or does that not even matter? Because this is all just back end tracking on my part.
So what you'll need to do, I couldn't cover this in the webinar just for the sake of time.
Yeah.
Um, you'll need to connect your pixel to your ad account. So you can do that if you have a business portfolio.
Yep.
What you would do is claim your ad account under that business portfolio and also
Okay.
claim your pixel under, the is it Cuyuna Brewing?
Cuyuna. Yep. Yep.
So, if there's a Cuyuna Brewing business portfolio, you would go into the settings of that business portfolio, claim the ad account, claim the pixel, and then you can go into the pixel settings.
Okay.
And there's going to be a button that says connected assets. And you click that, and then you select your ad account. And now
Okay.
you've connected the pixel and the ad account, and now you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. It's super confusing. Meta makes it more
So
difficult than it needs
difficult.
to be. Yeah. um, cool. Any other questions on anything?
I guess, again, just to piggyback off of what Jeff was asking, as far as rates and having that on your landing page, do you suggest even putting like a range of rates? Because what I kind of noted in the comments there is that, like, as a consumer, to me, my son just got married, so we priced out venue after venue after venue,
Mhm.
and it was a little bit annoying for me to have to submit inquiries, get these phone calls, only to find out, okay, this venue doesn't meet our needs, is way over budget, isn't what we're looking. And so it's like to just initially even know this is the price range. Or do you just suggest really trying to avoid putting pricing on that? I'm just trying to think of it from a consumer standpoint. And I can see it both ways. Like it's better if you can get on the phone and have that discussion. But do you lose some people who are like, oh, I don't want to go through the hassle of filling out this form and trying to speak with these people? Or you think you get a better quality lead, like more serious inquiries because they're taking the time to fill out the form?
Yeah, I mean, you could test it. I wouldn't like really argue this too much one way or the other.
Yeah.
Just from what we've done in the past and just speaking to like kind of how we've done it, not even necessarily saying that that is absolutely the best way to do it. Um, but we have not included prices on the private event page. And the logic there has been what I mentioned before, that, it's easier to justify the price over the phone when you can actually
Sure.
like handle objections in real time. Um, that said, to your point, I get it from a customer standpoint too. So you could test including pricing on the landing page, and then maybe if you find that like your form submit rate is super low and cost per lead is too high, then remove pricing and see if just like not having that there gets more people into the form, and then you can try to handle those objections over the phone.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, try it. See what happens and let me know.
Sure.
Cool. Any other questions on anything?
I don't think so. Thank you. It was informative.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
hopefully this was helpful. And if you go ahead and set this up, just let me know if you need anything from my end. Let me know if you do have any questions, and I'm happy to help. And we'll keep doing these types of webinars in this group. And if there's any other topics that either of you are interested in, just let me know, and I'm happy to create some content on it.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care.